beautiful people. I'm Shauna and I am grateful you are here. Wherever you are in the world, whatever time of the day or night that it is, my hope is that you are healthy and happy and taking action steps on your highest excitements. Today, I would like to talk about the idea of saying yes when you really want to say no. You, a woman who is watching this or listening to this, I ask, when was the last time you said yes when deep down in your truth you wanted to say no? And I'm talking about requests that come in where you really want to say no, but you say yes. For example, you're asked to babysit your grandchildren again this weekend. Or you're asked to join a group of coworkers for dinner and drinks after work. Perhaps your significant other wants to have sex and you're not in the mood. Maybe you're asked by a friend to collaborate on a project. Just a few examples I wanted to throw out there. Whatever it is, you say yes, but you really want to say no. So again, when was the last time you did that? Can you think of that time where you were asked to do something, you were asked for something, and you said yes, but the truth is you wanted to say no? We are wired to belonging and social connection. Creating a practice of saying no, advocating for yourself, and creating boundaries for yourself can be challenging and downright terrifying. You have higher priorities. You don't have the time, or you don't really want to. Yet you respond with a yes and then want to kick yourself a moment later or slip into the energies of regret and resentment. Why did I say yes? I don't really want to do this. Sure, there is joy in seeing someone's face light up and hear the delight in their voice when we say yes. And it certainly is easier in the moment. But when we do this, when you do this, you are not being true to yourself. You don't need to do everything and be all things to all people. Doing so can leave you, anyone, overcommitted, stressed out, and hard on yourself for always saying yes. Here's my next question to you. What are you afraid might happen if you say no? What's the worst thing that could happen if you say no? Think about that. You've remembered a situation where you said yes when you didn't really want to. Now I'm asking you to think, the worst thing that could happen, or what are you afraid might happen if you had said no? So think about that for a moment. Listen for the thoughts. Feel the feelings that are emerging from within you. What is the fear? I'm going to share with you a list of some of the things that we're afraid of in speaking our truth, in saying no when we really want to say no. So there's the fear of missing out. Could you have the fear of missing out? Not meeting societal expectations. This is where shoulds are powered from. I should go. I should say yes. That is an example of meeting societal expectations. Maybe you're afraid of hurting someone's feelings. What about your feelings? Hashtag your feelings matter. You don't want to look bad. There will be some discomfort let me say that again. There will be discomfort and you will feel that in your body in saying no. In saying yes, you get to avoid that for now. But doesn't the regret and the resentment bring discomfort too? Maybe you're nervous they won't ask again, or you feel guilty, you feel obligated, you think people will think badly of you, or perhaps you are afraid of conflict, rejection, or abandonment. You want to be agreeable, you want to please people, yet it is all at the expense of yourself, at the expense of the relationship you could have or could be having with yourself, your true self. You may come across as irresponsible. Maybe you believe it's your job to help others. Yet how often do you ask for help? Maybe you believe because it's a fear and it's a belief. So we have our beliefs and we have our fears that prevent us from saying no. So maybe you have this belief that you're supposed to be obedient. Relationships with other people become more important than the relationship you have with yourself. Here are my next two questions. Are you willing to change? Are you willing to speak your truth honestly and directly from a place of love and compassion for the other person as well as yourself? This is a question that was posed to me by a teacher a few years back, and it was a question that made me sit up straight and take notice. In the moments that followed that question being posed to me in a group of people, I chose to act on it. I chose to begin a practice. I chose the relationship with myself. I also adopted a new phrase, and the phrase is this: I am willing to disappoint everyone else as to never disappoint myself. I was learning the importance of being in a deep and meaningful relationship with myself. I began to understand, because I gave myself the time to do it, what my fears were in saying no to something I truly wanted to say no to. Because here's the thing, sometimes you really want to say yes, right? You know when it's a hell yes. You want to do it. You want to go. You want to be there. And you understand you will not experience the sting of regret once you say yes. Why? Because you know it's your truth. If it's not a hell yes for me, then I sit with it. I ask myself, what is the truth? What is my truth in this matter? Once I'm clear about my truth, then I start to pay attention to the narrative, to the dialogue, to the fears that are knocking on the door of my awareness when it comes to then expressing my truth to the person. I listen to what the fears are trying to make me believe, that if I say no, then all sorts of awful things will happen. Saying yes has been ingrained in women. So many of us learned from a very young age that we should appear accommodating and kind, that we should be pleasant, share generously, practice patience, and put others before ourselves. We should be grateful, a team player, and a pleasant person. We learned to say yes and stifle our no's. We learned to hide our truths and quiet our voices. Consciousness is on the rise. Feminine energy is rising. Assertiveness is the voice of truth. Your truth. You saying no to something you absolutely want and need to say no to. Here's my next question to you. In what way can you lovingly, knowingly, and boldly speak your truth at times it's important to do so with the people it's important to do so with? Jot that one down. I'd like to offer some example responses to what I had mentioned earlier. Example responses in expressing a no answer. I'm sorry, but I can't babysit this weekend. I'm taking some time for self-care. Thanks for the invitation to dinner and drinks. I can't make it, but I hope you all have a great time and I look forward to hearing all about it. I love that you want to be intimate with me, and I love you. I've had a challenging day and I'm not feeling romantic right now. Can I make this up to you? Can I make it up to us? Can we make some together plans for the weekend? Your project sounds amazing. Right now I have to say no to collaborating with you. With everything I'm working on, I don't have time to fit it into my schedule. So those are some of the examples. A few months back, a friend of mine reached out to me and asked if I would join her on a day field trip. I had some things going on and, it sounded exciting, but then I took a few moments to check in with myself, to know my truth. I allowed myself to go to the energies of what it might be like to actually go with her. And then I allowed myself to be with the energies of my priorities that I was working on at the time. What I discovered was this over here, my priorities and getting whatever I was working on finished or completed or progressed, whatever it was more important. I loved the idea of going with her, but in the moment, my truth was, I need to work on this. And this is where I want to put my energy and my time. So I noticed the fear. I felt it. I felt those little twinges of, I don't want her to be mad at me. I don't want her to be disappointed. And then I came back to my statement, to my affirmation. I am willing to disappoint anyone else as to never disappoint myself. So I reached out to her and I thanked her. I asked her if we could go at another time, but I was unable to make it. And here's the beautiful thing about that. It gave her permission to do the same. In my practice of shining my light and being my true core essential self and speaking my truth and saying no thank you rather than yes and then being in regret, I gave her the opportunity to do the same. And if something comes up in her life where someone asks her to do something, she would remember that. She would meet that energy. And she, in turn, would be able to speak her truth. So it's like a domino effect, a very powerful, empowering effect that we can have on the women around us. I mean, she really appreciated that I was honest with her. And again, that gave her permission to do the same. And I know because her and I have had conversations about speaking truths. So it's a way too to empower the women around you by reaching a certain frequency or vibration of truth and showing that to other women, and those other women can decide to match it or meet it if they choose to, and in a sense, heal themselves. Okay, so I encourage you for now to begin to pay attention to the moments when you really want to say no, but you respond with a yes. Ask yourself, what is driving me to say yes when I want to say no? What am I afraid might happen if I speak my truth? What is the narrative that's going on in my mind? And this is a great follow-up question. Ask yourself this. How important is the relationship I have with myself? Invite awareness. Practice honest self-exploration. And be willing to say no. Thank you. Spirit Animal Oracle. Let's see what it has to say. Oh, perfect. Panther Spirit, reclaim your power. Need I say more? I don't think so. You know how you reclaim your power? By creating boundaries, by speaking your truth, by advocating for yourself, by saying no when you really want and need to say no. Perfect. Panther Spirit, reclaim your power. Notice yourself. Notice yourself to know yourself. Be in harmony and relationship with yourself first.